This video is for educational purposes only. As a former lifelong conservative and a former patch holder of a white supremacist organization, this statement cannot be further from the truth. He says, I am a conservative. The Klan is now and has always been a Democrat institution. It must suck to always be on the wrong side of history. While yes, the original Klan members were part of the Democratic Party, which was after the Civil War, they were former Confederate soldiers who joined this organization as a social club, which ultimately ended up becoming political. However, after the passing of the 1964 Civil Rights Act and the 1965 Voting Rights Act, there was a shift in political parties. Many of the Southern Democrats, the Dixiecrats, shifted to the Republican Party. And most people will argue that only one or two of the politicians actually made that switch. However, a large amount of Southern white evangelical voters shifted to the Republican Party after the passing of the Civil Rights Act and the dismantling of Jim Crow laws. I've never met a white supremacist or an openly racist person who did not support the Republican Party, and I've met a lot of them. Let me tell you about the town that I grew up in Fort Pierce, Florida, where Trump's trial will be held. And this wasn't 50, 60 years ago. This was 20 years ago. When I was in high school, all the white redneck kids would wear Dixie Outfitter shirts with Confederate flags on them that would say, if the South would have won, we would have all had it made. Guess what they are? Conservatives, Republicans. And they'll be the first ones to tell you that they aren't racist. I had a friend who was a firefighter for 20 years, just retired from a fire department in South Florida. We were just out of high school and he had a 2-year-old daughter. We were at Walmart, and every time we'd go to Walmart, he'd buy her a gift. On this particular day, we were pushing the cart down the aisle. She was sitting in the cart and she pointed at a brown Cabbage Patch doll and said, Daddy, Daddy, I want the chocolate baby. He leaned in and said, no, honey, you can't have the N-word baby, and kept pushing the cart. Well, as we pushed the cart away, she started screaming at the top of her lungs, Daddy, Daddy, I want the N-word baby. He's a Republican that will be supporting Trump at the Trump trial. Another guy from Fort Pierce that owned a very successful construction company and is a large donor and member of a mega church in Fort Pierce. Prior to me going to prison, I sold my car to a drug dealer. I was really messed up on drugs. Well, him being a member of the church, he decided that he wanted to help me. We drove to get the car back. Outside was a bunch of black people, and he looked at me and said, this is why they call them coons, because they only come out at night. He told me that there's 2 types of black people. Those people, then the good ones. He'll also tell you that he's not racist, and he's part of the church and he donates. And these are the dangerous conservatives that I'm talking about.